Good evening and welcome. I have wanted to meet my first guest for a long time. Jodie Foster is only 31, but when you know her accomplishments, it's easy to think of her as a much older woman. And maybe it's the roles she has played that ultimately offer us the wide and true range of a woman's character.
Ham-handed segue into your questionnaire. It won't do.
I'm only asking you to look at this, Doctor. Either you will or you won't.
Yeah.
She held her own against a serial killer.
Must be very busy indeed.
So, you want to sleep in the other room?
She charmed a 19th century rogue. She's been a klutzy con artist.
Are you going to examine me?
Your leg?
A gutsy rape victim.
Looking for some action?
Yeah.
And in her first big starring role, an adolescent hooker.
See that guy over there?
You were how old then?
I was 12.
You were 12.
Yeah.
Lime freeze would be nice.
By then, Jodie was an old pro, literally growing up on television and film sets. At age 5, she was reading scripts. Let's go back to 3.
Okay.
You were the copper tone girl showing your behind.
I was for the commercials, not for the billboards, which were separate. I was the 65 Coppertone girl. I remember very little from those days as a child actor, but I remember bits and pieces. Probably I have no memories as a child without having been an actor. I don't remember ever not being an actor or not being in film sets or movie sets or TV sets.
Jodie did not become an actress because she was the daughter of someone famous. Jodie's juvenile jobs helped pay the bills in her single mother, 4 kids family.
Can I see you again?
Did you ever turn to your mom and just say, I'm sick of this, I don't want to do it anymore, why do I have to do it, I need a life?
No, I never said that. I did, when I was a kid, I would say, but I don't want to wash my face. Or I'd say, but I don't want to wear those shoes. I'd do stuff like that, and my mom would say, great, if you don't want to, then you can always make a choice whether you want to be an actor or not, And then I would kind of go, oh, okay, well, all right, forget it, I'll wash my face, So I was continually making the choice to act. And she was very clear about saying, if ever you are uncomfortable, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to do it. There's no big deal. You don't have to do any of it.
Her mother made sure when Jodie wasn't working, she went to school. She excelled and gave the valedictory address in French from the prestigious high school she attended. Then she headed for Yale, where she majored in literature. When you were at Yale, why didn't you major in drama?
I was sick of it. To me, that felt like real life, and I wanted an ivory tower. I wanted to forget and escape. And my favorite way of escaping always was to read books, and novels were really my first love. And I really wanted to study literature. And studying literature, as in literary criticism, was really like studying, the theory of air, really, because it was books on books on books on books and people on people on people on people. And I loved that because you could sit around all day and your head would spin, and at the end of the day, you had nothing. And I thought, this is what it should be. This should be about creating a muscle that's really strong and that can read and can deepen into any experience in the world. I want to be...
But college was not to be idyllic. In 1981, an unbalanced fan tried to assassinate President Ronald Reagan. John Hinckley Jr. said he was motivated by his desire to impress then-freshman Jodie Foster. She was overwhelmed by attention and finally responded by writing an account in Esquire magazine. Still in college, she continued to act, but the films were mostly forgettable. And even after graduating, Jodie's star didn't burn brightly.
As I got older, I think there was a moment in my life where I just didn't have the best pick of material. I was not in the mainstream, and people were telling me I should do, these all the coming-of-age movies, and I didn't want to do them, and I didn't feel like I looked good, and I just was so insecure, and I really did think about a new career a lot. In fact, sort of prepared myself for that, and it wasn't until The Accused, really, that I went after something and really committed myself to an acting career.
So I didn't get raped, huh? I never got raped. Of course you were raped. Now, how come it doesn't say that? How come it doesn't say Sarah Tobias was raped? What the is reckless endangerment?
It's a felony that carries the same prison term as rape. Now, you asked me to put them away, and that's exactly what I did.
Now, well, who the are you to decide that I ain't good enough to be a witness?
At age 26, she won an Academy Award for her portrayal of a loose, living, fun-loving good old girl who convinced a prosecutor and jury her background wasn't an invitation to gang rape.
At that time, you were not their choice.
No.
You had to fight for that role.
Yeah, but
you've had to fight for every role you've got.
Yeah, and I think that's good. To tell you, it's the process of fighting for something that makes me realize why I want to do it and why it's appropriate for me.
She also fought for the role that won her a second Oscar and huge critical success. Jodie played a fledgling but ambitious FBI agent on the trail of a brilliant serial killer in Silence of the Lambs. The same year, she directed her first film, which led to her own production company. Egg Pictures is responsible for her latest film, one in which she wears two hats, actress and producer. Nell is the story of a young woman raised in a remote cabin speaking a strange language. Liam Neeson and Natasha Richardson are characters who must decide whether to bring Nell into their world.
So what's Tay-A?
Jodie said she researched for the role, but after the technique of language was decided, she just sort of let herself go.
Just being clear about one thing about her that I think is more her than anything else is that she is defined by loving someone. She's defined by giving. Without that other person to give to or to care for or to worry about or to put your hands out to, she doesn't exist. Once you concentrate on that, basically drank a lot of cappuccino and watched a lot of TV, and then somebody said action, and then you just try to hope that you're at peace with yourself enough to be uninhibited, and maybe make a fool of yourself, you know.
I know you speak French fluently. What part did that play, and how did it help to handle the dialogue that's in the script?
Well, I didn't go, I didn't do that a lot. The French would have come in handy there if I had to go off, but somehow that didn't come into the character. I don't know. Maybe it's because I love language.
That's what I'm talking about, loving language.
I love language. I always did. When I was a kid, my mom used to say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my answer was that I wanted to be a professional talker. She said, no, you have to be a lawyer or, any number of these, a debater or something like that. And I was disappointed because I thought maybe there was a job where you could just do that.
Your mom wants you to get a PhD.
She does. Has she been calling you?
Are you going to do it?
No, I don't think so.
What's Aunt Jodie like? How many nieces and nephews do you have now?
I have 7 nieces and nephews, and I love them. They're great. It's made me have a totally different relationship with my brothers and sisters than I ever had before.
How?
Well, I think I love their kids, and I think I see them in a much more adult and non-judgmental way, because it's hard raising kids, and we sit around and go, yeah, but his grades are bad. Well, what are you going to do about it? I don't know. I talk to his teachers, or it's just a different relationship than going, well, so did you talk to Mom? Yeah, she's bugging me. Yeah, me too. It's just a different relationship, because I think with single parents you tend to have, with your brothers and sisters, you tend to have a relationship through the one parent, because you're always vying for their attention. So my mom would repeat what I said about my sister, and then she'll repeat things. And I finally said to my brothers and sisters, I said, look it now, and we're old now. So I don't want, if you got a question, you should talk to me. So now we have a sort of closer relationship. In some ways it's through their children.
What is your Achilles heel?
I feel guilty for virtually everything. I think that's my big Achilles heel, is if there's a responsibility, if something's happened. I mean, it could be, my assistant had a car accident or something, and then suddenly I feel it's my fault because, I shouldn't have sent her on that errand, or I shouldn't have worked her so, maybe she was overworked over the weekend, or, or whatever it was. I tend to feel like everything's my fault. And it's difficult for me in my friendships because I spend a lot of time trying to live up to their expectations of me. And my friends turn around and say, you're not my mother. I don't expect anything from you. So why are you driving across town to get me a birthday present because you forgot yesterday? Why don't you just call me up and go, look, I forgot. I'll get you a birthday present another time, I tend to take on the mantle of guilt a lot. That's my big flaw.
Critics say most of Jodie's work is flawless and praise the range of her work. But if there is a pattern to the role she chooses, it is the selection of outsider characters.
The wind. You're a tree in the wind.
And maybe it's a key to the insides of the actress.
Well, that's one of the challenges of the film, and probably one of the things that fascinated us the most while we were developing it is to try and to present this person who in some ways is indescribable. She's any number of uncategorizable things.
Is that you too?
Who, me?
Is that how people sometimes treat you, as one of these uncategorizable, I can't even say the word, things?
I tend to connect with characters that are different and that are either ostracized or canonized for being different, and feel alienated because of that, and are sort of trying to connect with people and trying to communicate in a way that's closer and more intimate.
You may find it hard to believe, but Jodie Foster has never had an acting lesson in her life.